protocols that are being developed, that are being planned, that are being ready for implementation. You understand that this particular scenario wasn't planned in terms of people getting ready to have to do something catastrophic in terms of the people that live down in the Deep South. And so what they're doing is they're bringing together primary battle groups, that is, people that can actually be engaged in combat and these are with reinforcing foreign troops at 500-mile intervals, so that as the pressure escalates to move people out of that area, every 500 miles you've got a concentration of battle groups, theoretically speaking at this point, of course, but that the plans call for that, so that the flow of people, when it becomes beyond anything we've ever seen, if it becomes necessary to do that, that they can have those hubs, those communication and transportation centers available. Then the overall command, and they're called clean sweep zones, the overall command and control is U.S., state and local ground units under unified command, including UN-appointed foreign officers, specifically Canadian, British, German, and Russian. Now, Hawk, you're seeing...
and 40 million people potentially to be evacuated.
That's correct. That is the number. Now, that doesn't include what may be necessary along the East Coast if this oil is unstemmed and it continues to flow at the rates it's flowing now, and it gets into the Gulf Stream and starts up the eastern seaboard, then you're going to see potentially another 10 million join that. And the reason there's less, even though there's more concentration of people, but less evacuation, is that the concentrations of oil, they believe, and they're planning for at this point, will not be as great as it is in the Gulf. It'll take a little bit longer. Now, it may require further evacuations if this becomes necessary, but at the present time, estimates are that it could be 10 million along the East Coast.
And if it went all the way up. But I think what they feel is it would catch the jet stream and go towards England and Europe, wouldn't it?
The Gulf Stream.
Yes, the Gulf Stream, yes.
That is correct, and it would end up in the beaches in England. So what you've got, of course, and I want to put this caveat in here, Hawk. If everything was equal and we had the kind of country and the kind of leadership that we desire but don't have, if everything was equal, all of this would be seen by many as good planning. It would be good to know that we've got these kinds of plans to get people out of harm's way and move them wherever we need to move them. But to me, and I'll talk about this later, I see this as the canary in the mine. This is killing three birds with one stone in the agenda that they've got set up, and I think you'd probably agree with that.
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you, this whole choice, if one looks at the coastline and some of the names off of the parishes there and the islands, for instance, Chandelier Sound. Well, everybody knows a chandelier is what focuses the magical and mystic energies down for the magician. And then near that is Freemason Island, and then the Breton National Wildlife Refuge. That's to the northeast of Grand Isle. But there's some interesting things there, and when you have BP and it being owned by perhaps one of the whores of Babylon, it just makes me think, Greg. So I know the three birds with one stone kind of a thing you're talking about.
Well, exactly right, Hawk. And if... And I say if only in that, obviously I don't have the mind of God, but I will tell you that if this is a judgment on this nation, and it well could be, not only from a timely standpoint, but from the sin that this nation has embraced and how we marched into the halls of heaven and demanded divorce from God Almighty. God Almighty.
Being owned, that's one of the God Almighty. 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 Well, Joe, if only, have the mind of I will show it is loose sin grace and how we mighty and it's one of the Babylon. It makes me Greg. So I three birds with stone kind kind of talking about.
Well, right, Hawk. If you know, obviously have the mind of I will sit this is judgment on and it will be from a time point, but sin that this is embraced and how we into the heaven and divorce from mighty
being owned. That's one of the Babylon
well, right, Hawk. If you know, I will judgment on and it will from a time sin like this sin and how we heaven and mighty
and that's one of the Babylon makes me Greg, so I three birds with stone kind of talking about.
Well, right, Hawk. If you know, obviously have the mind of I will this is judgment on and it will be from a time point, but sin that this is embraced and how we into the heaven and divorce from mighty
being owned. That's one of the Babylon That's one of the Babylon makes me Greg, so I three birds with stone kind of talking about.
Well, right, Hawk. If you know, I have the mind of I will this judgment on this and it will this be this from a time this point, but this sin that this embrace this and how we this into the this heaven and this divorce from mighty
being owned. That's one of the Babylon makes three birds
well,
drastic,
right,
drastic, That's one of the Babylon makes me Greg, so I three birds with stone kind of talking about.
Well, right, Hawk. If have the mind of I will this is judgment on and it will be and this is from a time and this is point, but and this is sin that this and this is embrace and this is and how we and this is into the and this is heaven and this is divorce from and this is mighty and this is
being owned
and this is
that's one of the
if desire, you know, desire have the mind of desire, I will desire from a time, desire from a force and sin, force and how we force and how we force and heaven and force and heaven and force and mighty force and mighty force and force and
that's one of the
force and
Babylon catch this makes me catch the egg, so I catch the three birds will catch the stone kind of catch the talking about catch the
well
catch the
right Hawk
catch the catch the catch the
if all
catch the
you know I becomes have the mind of becomes I will becomes is becomes judgment on becomes and it becomes becomes from a time becomes point but becomes sin that this trations embrace trations and how we trations into the trations heaven and trations divorce from trations mighty trations
being owned
trations
that's one of the
trations
Babylon
trations
Babylon
trations well it rates its right well it gets into the gets into the start if or then you're then you're going to have the mind of I will judge judgment on it from a time sin and how we have the divorce from mighty
being owned that one of the makes